morning, everybody. I'm sorry that after having lived here for 8 years, I don't speak Cantonese. So I just speak in English, and you have to listen to that, most of you. Blame that on globalization, okay? Because my work has been all over the world, and it has been very good, but it did not make me here and learn Cantonese. I've been asked to talk about women, gender, and globalization. And let me just say that I am not a researcher, an academic, so I have not done this kind of research myself. And whatever insights, whatever ideas I give to you now is based on my activism. Really, I'm an activist for a very, very long time on issues of women, migration, trafficking, migrant workers also. So all this has, and I do something with that. That's the basis. So if you all have any, you hear anything that's maybe not correct, or you, I hope we will have a good, discussion after this. Let me. Okay. I just want to start with one quote, which says, "The world's giant transnational corporations and governments and multilateral institutions that cling, that really join up with these transnational corporations are globalizing the wrong things. Things that are of benefit to them and to no one else. And they are refusing to globalize the right things which would benefit all of us." I think that is one very simple but very clear statement, I think, of what we might think of globalization. And I gave my title Negotiating Globalization. So why should we negotiate if it is, all the wrong things? And I looked into the Oxford Dictionary, and it says there are these 3 points that I took out from the definition: to confer, to talk with, to confer, to meet with, to engage with, in order to reach either agreement or a result that we want. Yeah? A second meaning is to deal successfully, example, with an obstacle. So if we think that globalization is an obstacle, should we negotiate and come to some, and overcome this obstacle, overcome the obstacles that we see? And the third one is very strange, is that to convert into money, which I think is what we all should want to do, right? Anyway, that's just to start off a little bit lightly. So, I guess all of you know we all know what globalization is. It's not a new subject. So everybody knows what globalization is, right? Does anybody really has never read or thought about what it is? No. So I want to go very quickly through this first few slides that I have, just to build up, and I want to get down to the last one, actually. So in the 90s, it was said globalization should be an engine of growth and poverty eradication. That was the way it was being promoted. What was happening, there was a faster interconnection of countries because of transportation, new ways of communication. And then what you see that even then it was quite clear, communication and transportation of goods, services, cultural products, ideas across borders, but not people. Right? It was never in the scheme of things, actually. It was to be a borderless world. We were going to develop a borderless world. And this borderless world has become for, yes, some good things of exchanges, we will see, but also for the bad things to cross, right? So there are ways for also the negative things to spread, like environmental degradation. We can't stop anymore forest fires from, in Southeast Asia, forest fires in one part of the world, of one country, to bring a whole haze and pollution into another country, as well as all the waters that come together. So all that spreads also. Drugs, diseases, AIDS are brought across borders. So it's not all good, it's not all bad. I would like to talk about what is behind the whole project of globalization. That is what we call the neoliberal agenda, all those ideas, those values behind that. It says, it pretends to say, it's only about economics, free trade, free market. That is the main thing about the globalization that is going to be the result. it should be, as liberal, we are promoting equality, freedom, democracy, because economies are going to grow, and then we can become more equal, we have more to share with each other. And it's also going to be pro-poor, so we're going to fight poverty, because we're going to put all our things together, we can exchange, we can do all this. So that's this big, promise of globalization, of the neoliberal agenda. And I want to bring this in right now. I'm not sure exactly how it connects, but maybe some of you know. Some of you can bring in this together. Next to all that, there is also, we see at the same time the last 10 years, even more than the last 10 years, a growth of what we call the Christian or religious rights agenda, values, where there is more and more an attempt to control women, to control women's bodies. Example, of course, of the arch, what do we call that, liberal conservative party in this is the US government, and brought out this global gag rule where any organizations, any NGOs or interstate or state organizations, whatever, which were going to get any US aid money, should not be supporting abortion at any time. They had to sign that they will not. They are promoting family values, they're promoting population control or by family planning, by natural means, so no abortion, because that's not according to God's plan. And what we call the prostitution pledge, which is about in the same line, it has to do with women's having control over their own sexuality, their own ways to live their lives. If organizations were to work even on HIV/AIDS or they will have to sign the pledge that they will not support any the legalization of prostitution. That's an example of what we call this agenda. And there are, of course, consequences for all this also for women's economic, social, and cultural rights. If women cannot plan their own families, women have no control over their bodies, they cannot go out, they are, again, as we go back to the families and the kitchen, they cannot exercise their economic, social, cultural rights, economic independence. Just very quickly to go through what we mean when we talk about globalization processes, there are two parallel processes. One is the technical, right? The technological process that has brought these connections into the world. Mass communication technologies, the kind of quantum leap in technological advance that has made it so easy in a way for us to have access to all kinds of things, right? To have news, to have knowledge, to have products, to organize transnationally. How easy it is to talk to each other nowadays. You don't have to travel to long-distance countries. We can have conferences. We can have all kinds of things. And there's just different ways that we can organize now across countries, throughout the whole world. And it is, what is called a participatory or a democratic sharing of ideas is possible. That has made that possible.